Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and visionaries, I stand before you today to speak to the man who walks alone, not because he is unwanted, but because he is in preparation. Too often, society tells you that without a girlfriend, without a partner, you are incomplete. But I want to remind you that your value is not determined by your relationship status. Your value is determined by your purpose. Many people confuse aloneness with loneliness, but they are not the same. Loneliness is the feeling of emptiness, of being disconnected and forgotten. But aloneness is a period of growth, self-discovery, and preparation. It is in solitude that the greatest minds in history have been shaped. Before a man can step into his full potential, he must go through a season where he learns to be at peace with himself, where he understands his identity apart from others, and where he develops the disciplines that will sustain him in the future. A man who fears being alone will often make desperate decisions, seeking companionship to fill a void that only purpose can satisfy. He jumps into relationships not because he is ready, but because he is restless. He searches for someone to complete him, when in reality no one can complete what he has not yet built within himself. A strong relationship is not formed by two broken halves coming together. It is built by two whole individuals who bring value to each other. If a man does not take time to develop himself in his season of aloneness, he risks carrying his insecurities, weaknesses, and lack of direction into his relationship. In times of solitude, a man has the opportunity to refine his character. This is where he cultivates discipline, sharpens his skills, and deepens his understanding of who he is. The greatest leaders, thinkers, and innovators all went through seasons of isolation, where they worked in silence before the world recognized their greatness. It was in solitude that men like Moses, Jesus, and Paul developed their wisdom and clarity. It was in isolation that inventors and visionaries crafted their most brilliant ideas. If they had feared being alone, they would have never unlocked their potential. The problem today is that many men try to skip this process. They distract themselves with entertainment, temporary relationships, and social validation, instead of embracing the silence that allows them to grow. But true transformation does not happen in a crowd. It happens in the quiet moments when a man confronts himself. It is in aloneness that he learns to handle his emotions, control his desires, and develop the patience required for greatness. A man who is comfortable with himself is powerful. He does not seek validation from others because he has already validated himself. He does not chase relationships out of need, but approaches them with confidence and purpose. He is not swayed by peer pressure or societal expectations because he has spent enough time in self-reflection to know what he truly wants. This period of development is not just about success. It is about preparation. If a man desires a strong, meaningful relationship in the future, he must first become the kind of man who can sustain one. Relationships are not built on attraction alone. They require emotional intelligence, financial stability, spiritual maturity, and a clear sense of direction. A man who has not taken the time to grow in these areas will struggle in any relationship he enters. Embracing aloneness also allows a man to discover his purpose. Many men enter relationships without knowing their mission in life, and as a result, they drift aimlessly, expecting their partner to give them direction. But a relationship is not a replacement for purpose. It should be an addition to it. When a man has a clear sense of where he is going, he attracts the right kind of people who align with his vision. Instead of seeing this season as a burden, a man should see it as a gift. It is a rare opportunity to invest in himself without distractions. It is a time to build, to learn, to grow, and to position himself for the future. Those who waste this time chasing temporary comfort will look back with regret. while those who use it wisely will step into their destiny with confidence and strength. A man who embraces aloneness is never truly alone. He is simply in training for what is to come. Many men live their lives driven by emotion, reacting to circumstances instead of shaping them. They allow their feelings to dictate their actions, making decisions based on temporary desires rather than long-term vision. But a man who is ruled by emotion will always be unstable, easily swayed by external influences, and unable to build anything lasting. The key to true success, both in relationships and in life, is to be a man of purpose, not just emotion. Purpose is what separates men who lead from those who follow. It is the defining factor between a man who builds a legacy and a man who drifts aimlessly. When a man discovers his purpose, his life gains direction, clarity, and meaning. He no longer moves from one relationship to another, seeking fulfillment. He moves with intention, knowing exactly where he is going. A man of purpose does not rely on others to give him identity. He establishes his identity through his work, his values, and his vision. Emotions are temporary, but purpose is permanent. A man who makes decisions based on emotions will often find himself trapped in cycles of regret. He may pursue relationships out of loneliness, only to realize later that he was never ready. He may chase after validation, trying to prove his worth through others rather than developing it from within. But a man of purpose understands that feelings come and go, while the work he puts into his mission has lasting impact. Instead of being controlled by emotion, he learns to discipline himself, making choices that align with his long-term goals rather than his immediate feelings. Many men seek relationships before they have established their purpose. They believe that a woman will give them direction, that love will complete them. But the truth is, no relationship can replace purpose. A woman is not meant to guide a man's life. She is meant to complement it. If a man does not first discover his mission, he will enter relationships confused, expecting his partner to provide him with the clarity he lacks. This often leads to frustrations, misunderstandings, and broken relationships because he has placed an expectation on someone else that only he can fulfill. A man of purpose attracts the right people. Women are naturally drawn to men who have a clear sense of direction, who know what they want and where they are going. When a man is focused on his mission, he does not have to chase relationships. They come to him. His energy, confidence, and determination create an aura of leadership and stability. A man who stands firm in his vision does not settle for just any relationship. He seeks a partner who aligns with his values and his journey. Being a man of purpose also means having control over desires. Many men fall into traps because they are driven by temporary pleasures rather than long-term discipline. They waste time, energy, and resources chasing distractions that offer momentary satisfaction but leave them empty in the long run. A man who understands his purpose does not waste his strength on things that do not serve him. He focuses on growth, on building something meaningful, on developing his mind, body, and spirit. This mindset shift requires self-awareness and discipline. It means learning to step back and evaluate choices before acting on impulse. It means prioritizing mission over emotion, vision over validation, and purpose over pleasure. A man who masters this will not only achieve success in his career and personal life, but will also be prepared for a healthy, stable relationship when the time is right. In the end, a man who lives by emotion is like a ship without a rudder, tossed around by every wave, never reaching a destination. But a man who lives by purpose is like a ship with a strong captain, steering through storms with confidence, knowing exactly where he is headed. Purpose gives life meaning. It provides stability, clarity, and direction. A man who walks in purpose does not seek approval. He commands respect. He does not chase after love. He becomes the kind of man who naturally attracts it. To live a life of meaning, a man must rise above mere emotion and step into his true calling. He must commit to something greater than himself, something that lasts beyond the moment. He must embrace discipline, reject distractions, and pursue a vision with unwavering focus. When he does this, he will not only change his own life, he will change the lives of those around him. The decisions a man makes today will shape the future of his family. Many men live as though their present actions have no long-term consequences. But the truth is, every habit, every discipline, and every choice is laying the foundation for what is to come. A strong, stable, and successful family does not happen by accident. It is the result of intentional preparation, self-discipline, and a commitment to growth. A man who fails to discipline himself in his youth will struggle to lead his family with wisdom and strength in the future. Discipline is the ability to control desires, delay gratification, and prioritize long-term success over temporary pleasure. It requires focus, consistency, and sacrifice. Many men waste their years chasing distractions, indulging in habits that weaken their character, and failing to develop the skills necessary to be a strong husband and father. But when a man embraces discipline, he positions himself for a future of stability, leadership, and provision. Financial discipline is one of the most important factors that will impact a man's future family. A man who is careless with his finances, who spends recklessly and lives beyond his means, will bring financial instability into his household. Money problems are one of the leading causes of stress in relationships. And a man who fails to build financial wisdom in his single years will struggle to provide security for his family. Discipline in saving, investing, and managing resources is essential. It is not just about making money. It is about learning how to use it wisely so that when the time comes to lead a family, he can do so with confidence and responsibility. Emotional discipline is just as crucial. Many men enter relationships carrying emotional baggage, unresolved trauma, and poor coping mechanisms. A man who does not learn to manage his emotions while he is single will find himself reacting impulsively in marriage, causing unnecessary conflict and instability. Emotional discipline means learning self-control, developing patience, and mastering communication. A man who can control his temper, express himself clearly, and handle stress with wisdom will create a home that is peaceful and nurturing for his wife and children. Physical discipline is often overlooked, yet it plays a significant role in a man's future. A man who neglects his health, who lacks energy and stamina, will struggle to keep up with the demands of family life. Fatherhood requires strength, endurance, and the ability to lead by example. A man who prioritizes his health through exercise, proper nutrition, and self-care is not just doing it for himself, he is ensuring that he will be present and active for his children. He is setting a standard of discipline that will inspire his family to do the same. Spiritual discipline is another foundation that will shape a man's future family. A man who lacks a moral compass, who has no guiding principles, will struggle to lead with integrity. Spiritual discipline means committing to values, living by principles, and developing a strong inner character. A man who establishes a relationship with God, who seeks wisdom, and who walks in righteousness will create a home filled with faith, direction, and purpose. His future children will not just learn from what he says. The habits a man develops today will either bless or burden his future family. A man who wastes his time, energy, and potential in his youth will find himself unprepared when responsibility comes. But a man who embraces discipline, who builds financial stability, emotional maturity, physical health, and spiritual strength, will be ready to step into his role as a husband and father with confidence. No man becomes great by accident. No strong family is built without preparation. The choices made in the present determine the quality of life in the future. If a man desires a successful marriage, happy children, and a stable household, he must begin the work now. He must develop discipline in every area of life, not just for himself but for the generations that will come after him. A wise man understands that his future family is depending on him, not just on what he will do when they arrive, but on what he is doing today. His preparation is their security. His discipline is their foundation. His leadership starts long before he meets his wife or holds his child for the first time. The question every man must ask himself is this: am I living today in a way that will make my future family proud? If the answer is no, the time to change is now. Because when the moment comes to lead, to love, and to provide, it will be too late to prepare. The future belongs to the man who disciplines himself today. Many men enter relationships expecting a woman to complete them, care for them, or even fix them. They look for a girlfriend or wife not as a partner but as a mother figure, someone to clean up after them, handle their responsibilities, and provide them with the emotional security they never developed on their own. But a real woman, a true queen, does not want to raise a grown boy. She desires a king, a man who can stand on his own, lead with strength, and bring value to the relationship. A mature man understands that a relationship is not about dependence but about partnership. A boy looks for someone to take care of him, to validate him, and to carry the weight he refuses to bear. A king, on the other hand, has already developed himself before entering a relationship. He does not seek a woman to complete him, he seeks a woman to build with him. He brings leadership, emotional stability, financial responsibility, and vision to the table. One of the biggest signs of immaturity in relationships is a man who expects a woman to mother him. This is the man who lacks discipline in his life. He does not take care of his finances, his emotions, or his responsibilities. He expects his girlfriend or wife to manage his life for him, to pick up after his mess, to remind him of his duties, and to motivate him when he should be motivating himself. This is not love. This is dependency. No woman wants to be in a relationship where she has to carry a man instead of walk beside him. A king takes ownership of his life. He does not blame others for his failures, and he does not expect a woman to fix what he refuses to address. He understands that if he wants a high-value woman, he must become a high-value man. He works on himself, his career, his mindset, his health, his character, so that when he meets the right woman, he is ready to offer her something meaningful. He does not enter a relationship empty-handed, expecting a woman to fill the gaps in his life. Instead, he comes prepared, knowing that he has something to offer beyond just love and affection. A boy is emotionally unstable. He reacts impulsively, struggles with self-control, and expects a woman to manage his emotions for him. He seeks constant reassurance, crumbles under pressure, and creates unnecessary drama because he has not yet mastered himself. But a king is emotionally secure. He has learned how to control his emotions, how to communicate effectively, and how to lead with wisdom. He does not place the burden of his emotional well-being on his partner. He takes responsibility for his own healing and growth. Financial responsibility is another key difference between a boy and a king. A boy is reckless with money. He spends without planning, lives beyond his means, and expects his partner to help him out when things go wrong. He looks for a woman who will tolerate financial instability, who will support him even when he refuses to discipline himself. A king, however, is a provider. He does not necessarily have to be rich, but he is wise with his resources. He saves, he invests, he plans for the future. He does not enter a relationship expecting his woman to carry the financial load. Instead, he ensures that he is stable enough to contribute meaningfully to a shared life. A boy seeks validation from women. He bases his worth on how much attention he can get, moving from one relationship to another without ever truly committing. He is easily distracted, chasing temporary pleasure instead of building something lasting. A king, however, values loyalty, integrity, and commitment. He does not play games. He chooses his partner with intention, knowing that real love is built through trust, respect, and shared purpose. A true queen deserves a man who can lead, protect, and provide, not just financially, but emotionally and spiritually. She does not need someone to fix, someone to teach how to be a man. She deserves a partner who has already done the inner work, who has already developed himself into a leader. If a man desires a queen, he must first become a king. He must step into maturity, embrace responsibility, and commit to growth. He must stop looking for a mother and start becoming a man worthy of a strong, loving, and empowered woman. Only then will he be able to build a relationship that is not based on dependency, but on mutual respect and shared vision. Many men spend their days worrying about when they will find the right woman. They see others in relationships, watch romantic stories unfold around them, and wonder why they are still alone. Loneliness creeps in, and the fear of being single for too long makes them desperate for companionship. But the truth is, the right woman will not come when you are lonely. She will come when you are ready. The key is not to chase after a relationship to fill a void, but to focus on becoming the kind of man who naturally attracts the right woman. Loneliness is a dangerous motivator. When a man allows loneliness to dictate his decisions, he settles. He enters relationships out of fear instead of wisdom, choosing partners based on immediate comfort rather than long-term compatibility. A man who is desperate for love will overlook red flags, ignore his own standards, and tolerate behavior that goes against his values, all because he is afraid of being alone. But relationships built on loneliness rarely last. They are fragile, based on need rather than purpose, and often lead to disappointment. Instead of worrying about when the right woman will come, a man should focus on preparing himself for when she does. A meaningful relationship requires more than just love. It requires emotional stability, financial responsibility, and a strong sense of direction. Many men want a high-value woman, but have not yet become high-value men. They desire loyalty, kindness, and support, yet they have not developed the discipline, leadership, and maturity to sustain a relationship. The right woman will not be drawn to potential alone. She will be drawn to a man who has taken the time to build himself into someone she can trust, respect, and grow with. Self-improvement should be the priority, not the pursuit of a relationship. When a man shifts his focus from finding love to becoming the best version of himself, everything changes. He stops feeling anxious about being single and starts embracing the opportunity to work on his goals. He spends time developing his career, improving his physical health, mastering his emotions, and deepening his spiritual growth. He invests in his personal development, not for a woman but for himself. Ironically, it is when a man reaches this state of confidence and self-sufficiency that the right woman naturally appears in his life. A man who is ready for love does not chase, it comes to him. When a man is truly prepared, he exudes a level of confidence and stability that makes him attractive without effort. He is no longer desperate, no longer searching for validation, no longer trying to prove himself through relationships. He walks in his purpose, and in doing so, he attracts the kind of woman who aligns with his journey. Worrying about love is a waste of time. Time spent overthinking relationships is time that could be used to build something meaningful. Instead of stressing about when the right woman will come, a man should ask himself, am I the kind of man who can sustain the love I desire? Because the truth is, if a man is not yet ready, even if the right woman comes, he will not be able to keep her. He may not have the emotional maturity to handle conflicts, the financial stability to provide security, or the self-awareness to lead with wisdom. Love is not just about attraction, it is about preparation. There is freedom in letting go of worry. When a man understands that the right woman will come at the right time, He stops looking at singleness as a burden and starts seeing it as an opportunity. He enjoys his journey, embraces his solitude, and finds fulfillment in his purpose. He builds a life that is rich, meaningful, and fulfilling on its own. That way, when love does come, it is not something he needs. It is something that enhances what he has already built. Desperation repels, confidence attracts. The man who is constantly searching, constantly worried, constantly trying to force love into his life, often pushes it further away. But the man who is at peace, who trusts the process, who focuses on becoming instead of chasing, he is the one who naturally draws the right person into his life. So stop worrying, stop overthinking, stop comparing your journey to others. The right woman is not avoiding you. She is simply waiting for you to become the man who is ready for her. Keep growing, keep building, keep walking in your purpose. Love will come when the time is right. And when it does, you will realize that the wait was not a delay, it was preparation. My brothers, stand tall in this season. You are not lacking anything. You are being shaped for something greater. Walk in confidence, develop your potential, and embrace your journey. The right person will recognize your greatness when you have fully embraced it yourself. Stay strong, stay focused, stay purposeful. Your time is coming.